Today we'll see about the Unit 5, that is hybrid drive train designs. In the earlier 4 units, we have seen the introduction to electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. So in that we have seen the various compositions of electric and hybrid vehicles. What are the various motors used for the electric vehicles? So such as DC motors and induction motors, then switch reluctance motors, brushless DC motors, and so on. So these motors, how they are used in connection with the electric vehicles, that we have seen. And then the various control strategies for these motors. Say, because in case of electric vehicles, we have only DC sources of battery in the vehicle. So those DC sources of battery, those are to be used in connection with the DC motor. In case in this particular circumstances, the chopper control can be used, which is most widely used in fact. So chopper control gives the fixed DC to variable DC output voltage, and this variable DC output voltage can be used for the motor, DC motor, and the speed of which can be controlled. And as it is understood that the speed torque characteristics of separately excited DC motor is the most desirable one amongst all the other motors, and that motor is usually used in connection with the electric vehicles. And then there are different types of electric vehicle configurations available. That was discussed in Unit 3 and 4. Similarly, I have given you the slides for the batteries, different types of batteries and battery technologies, various types of batteries which are used in connection with the electric vehicles. In general also we have seen what are the various types of batteries in Unit 4. And then other energy storage devices such as flywheels and other components which are used for the energy storage devices. So now the advantage of the energy storage devices, along with the batteries, these energy storage devices are used such that under certain conditions of operation of the vehicle, we can use these energy storage devices. Suppose if you have an electric vehicle which is already having a battery source which is being used for the motors to take the power from, and in addition to the batteries we have ultra capacitors and the energy storage devices such as flywheels and all. So these flywheels and ultra capacitors, they are known as peak power sources. So these peak power sources, these are supplying the power under the emergency conditions of higher power requirement. Now suppose if the sudden torque requirement is there from the vehicle side and your battery is not capable of supplying a very big amount of current only for a small time duration, in that case the peak power source can be used and can be connected so if you have peak power sources, so we'll see what is meant by peak power sources. Electric motor, this is coupled to the wheel. This is supplied with battery, and this is also supplied with peak power source. You can have by and see. So in this case, you can see the wheels are available here, connected here to the electric motor. This electric motor, this can be a DC motor, induction motor, which is AC motor. Then we can have switch reluctance motor. This is also known as SRM. So the motor can be any of these categories connected here, and this motor is driven by a battery, or this could be a generator. Battery or generator drives the motor. So here the wheels are connected to the electric motor mechanically. This is a mechanical power flow. So it can flow from electric motor to wheels. So when the wheels are to be driven by the electric motor, this electric motor will supply the power to the wheels, mechanical power. So it is, the power flow is from this side to this side, from left to right. So this is the direction of power flow. When you are having braking, when you are braking the wheels, at that time these wheels can drive the generator. So this electric motor in that case will get converted into electric generator, and it will take the mechanical power from the wheels and it will generate the electrical power, and it will charge the PPS as well as it will charge the battery. So in both the cases, so this electric motor supplies the mechanical power to wheels. Wheel in turn will supply the mechanical power to electric motor, which will run as electric generator, and this power which is generated by the electric generator will be supplied to PPS, or it can be supplied to battery. So this could be a battery again, or any other device such as ultra capacitor, or it could be a mechanical flywheel. So that can be the position of PPS. So this is how the peak power sources are connected in connection with the electric motor. So now in this particular topic, hybrid drivetrain designs. So actually whatever drivetrains are there, so what is meant by drivetrain? Drivetrain, this constitutes mechanical and electrical driving components. So we can define the electric drivetrain or mechanical drivetrain, which constitutes the mechanical and electrical driving components of wheel. Now for example, electric or say drivetrain for this particular mechanism could be the electric motor then the wheels, as well as the PPS and battery. These are the electrical connections given to the electric motor. So this all constitutes the drivetrain. So in its block diagram representation, it can be drawn in this fashion. So now in hybrid electric vehicles, how these drivetrains are designed and how exactly the power flow is achieved and power flow is controlled, that part we are going to see in this drivetrain, hybrid drivetrain designs. Now this is the block diagram of hybrid drivetrain which is used. So here in the first part, this part is series hybrid and next part is parallel hybrid. So in this particular topic of hybrid drivetrain designs, we are going to see in detail how the series hybrid can be analyzed and can be controlled. Similarly, how the parallel hybrid also can be controlled by suitably designing these blocks. So these are the various blocks which are constituted to have the series hybrid drivetrain design. Now here, for example, whatever drivetrain we have seen here, this drivetrain now here in this case would be the mechanical drivetrain. You can see this is shown with a double line. This is the mechanical power. This is a double line. So here you have a double line. So this is the mechanical power, which is power flow shown in the diagram. And the drivetrain can constitute IC engine, generator, power converter, electric motor, and transmission and wheels. So these all constitutes the drivetrain for the electric vehicle. Now here the drivetrain, you can see it can be only components which are electric motor and wheels. So this drivetrain, this constitutes for this case electric motor and wheels. So the connections done to the electric motor from the battery, this does not exactly coming into the drivetrain analogy. Only this part, mechanical, as well as the other things connected with the electric motor, they can come in the drivetrain mechanism. Now here you can see this is the double line, that means it is mechanical power. Here also you have mechanical power. So in this case, the mechanical power flows from IC engine to the generator, as well as this generator will supply the power to the power converter. Power converter is nothing but the rectifier which can say convert AC power into DC power, or it could be a chopper which converts fixed level of DC voltage to a variable voltage, or this converter could be AC to AC converter, which is not very commonly used. So this power converter, what it will do is, whatever power is available from the generator in whatever form, whether it is AC or DC, whether it is higher voltage or lower voltage, all these things, this will suitably modify and it will give it to the battery, so that this generator will charge the battery through this power converter. So that is what is shown here. So then once the battery is charged, then this battery can supply the power to electric motor now through the power converter. So here this power converter not necessarily is only one single block, it can have multiple blocks. So when power flows from generator to the power converter and to the battery, it can use a separate power converter. When the power flows from battery to the electric motor in this direction, the power converter can have another mechanism of conversion of the power. So here, for example, if your generator is AC generator, what it will do? This AC generator will generate the AC power. This AC power is connected to the power converter. Now this AC power can be converted into a DC power and with a lower voltage which is suitable for connecting it to the battery. So this particular power converter will convert this AC supply with high voltage to a DC supply with low voltage and connect it to the battery. So this battery will now charge to the required level of voltage through this power converter. So this is one way the power converter will work. Now in the other way, suppose if the battery voltage is more than the voltage at which the electric motor is to be driven, because as you know, the speed of the wheels which is to be controlled by the driver or the operator, this speed will be governed by this electric motor. And this electric motor speed, if you want to change, what you have to change? You have to change the input voltage from here. Input voltage to the electric motor is to be controlled to control the speed of the motor. So as a result, here if you control the input voltage here, the speed of the electric motor will change, and that will change the speed of the wheels. So that will change the speed of the vehicle. So as a result, when you want to change the motor speed, you have to apply variable voltage here. So if you reduce the voltage, speed reduces. If you increase the voltage, speed will increase. So for controlling this particular voltage to the electric motor from a fixed voltage, which is the battery voltage, so this battery voltage will be fixed. Say suppose if it is around 200 volts battery voltage. Of course, this battery constitutes number of small batteries connected in series and parallel based upon the requirement of the voltage level and current level required for the electric motor. If you have a bigger electric motor, what we need to have? We need to have higher battery voltage and higher power delivering capacity of the battery. So in that case, size of the battery will increase. So when size of the battery increases, the number of units in the connected battery, which is parallel or series connected batteries, that will increase, and as a result, this size will be governed by the voltage and power level of the electric motor. Now this battery will have suppose a fixed voltage of 200 volts, and if the motor is to be driven at variable speed, this 200 volts you must convert into a variable voltage here, and this is done by the power converter. So this power converter, what it will do, suppose you want to reduce the speed of the motor, you have to reduce the voltage here. So this power converter will reduce 200 volts to a lower value and supply it to the motor. So the speed of the motor will reduce and speed of the vehicle also will reduce. Suppose if you want to increase the voltage applied to the motor, so that you want to increase the speed of the vehicle, in that case you increase the voltage from the power converter. Suppose 200 volts you have reduced to 100 volts for reducing the speed. Now suppose if you want to increase the speed beyond that value, so you apply say more than 100 volts from here. So 200 volts will be converted to more than 100 volts, which was earlier given to the electric motor. This motor will run at higher speeds because of higher input voltage. So as a result, this transmission and wheels, so this gear transmission or the the drive train, so this is nothing but the drive train. So this drive train can be referred as a transmission here, transmission block. So here what happens is, output of the electric motor we connected to the drive train, and this is connected to the wheels ultimately. So what we can see here is, whatever arrow mark I have shown here, this is in both the directions the power flows. So here when the braking is taking place, when we are reducing the speed of the vehicle, in that case the mechanical power which is stored in the wheels, mechanical power in terms of kinetic energy or potential energy, this is converted back to electric power by using this electric motor. This electric motor now functions as electric generator, and then this will charge the PPS as well as the battery. In this particular diagram, the peak power source, whatever I have shown here, that is not given, that is not shown. This shows only the basic fundamental block diagram of series hybrid drivetrain. So here, what is the basic topology of series hybrid drivetrain? It is nothing but the electric motor itself will drive the mechanical arrangement or mechanical drivetrain. So this electric motor is the only source of producing the mechanical power output or driving power, and this is transferred to the wheels using this drivetrain technology. And here in the other case, suppose if you have a parallel hybrid, you can see the arrangement is different. In series hybrid, as you can see here, this IC engine is nothing but internal combustion engine. This internal combustion engine takes power or produces mechanical power, taking the fuel, burning of the fuel into the cylinder, and this will produce the required mechanical power, which converts into electric power by using this generator. So whatever power are fed into the wheels, it is coming either from fuel tank or from the battery, and the battery also is charged through this generator, through the power converter, and ultimately this and this, both of them, they will be able to supply the power to electric motor. So here in the parallel hybrid, you can see what happens is fuel tank, IC engine, these components are same, but the connections are different. Now here this is a mechanical power drivetrain, here it is also mechanical power, here also mechanical power. So here you can see there is one additional component required, which is mechanical coupler. So this mechanical coupler, what it will do, it will either couple the wheels to the IC engine or it will couple it to the electric motor. In both the cases, the wheels will be driven by the mechanical coupler through the transmission drivetrain. So as a result, here you can see, even if the electric motor fails, what will happen? This mechanical coupler will be connected to the IC engine. IC engine will drive the wheels. But here, if the electric motor fails, the vehicle will fail, because this is the only source of mechanical power given to the wheels. So this cannot run unless the electric motor is perfectly working fine. So here it is the other way. Even if IC engine fails, what will happen? Electric motor will run provided it is working, and this will drive the wheels through the mechanical coupler. So the function of mechanical coupler is to couple the wheels either to IC engine or electric motor, depending upon the requirement of the wheels. Suppose if the wheels require a higher power, in that case it can be coupled to the IC engine, and if it requires lower power, it can be coupled to the electric motor, because IC engines, as we have already seen earlier, this produces very high torque as per the requirement of the vehicle. But here you may not get that particular perfect response of the motor as per the changing torque environment, because here what happens is, when you are starting the vehicle in the beginning from rest, when it moves, it requires a high starting torque. So for high starting torque requirement, it is always better to start the wheels or start the vehicle with the IC engine. So in the beginning, when the vehicle is started, the mechanical coupler will couple the wheels with the IC engine. Once it gets started and starts running, then this mechanical coupler can be disconnected from the IC engine and it can be connected to the electric motor. So now the advantage of using IC engine here, in both the cases, either it is in parallel hybrid or series hybrid, the advantage is it can have a variable torque which is required by the wheels. This IC engine can provide variable torque with a very short time duration. So that is the advantage of the IC engine, and as per the requirement of the torque, the wheels can rotate. And the disadvantage of IC engine is its efficiency is very low, of the order of less than 30 to 40%. And again, the control of this IC engine with proper gear and all, that requires additional equipment. But whereas electric motor, if you see, this does not involve any other apparatus such as gear train or any other coupler and something. This electric motor can be suitably controlled by just controlling the power converter. But here you cannot have a direct control over the torque and power of the IC engine. So that is the ease of, or the ease of flexibility or ease of control for the electric motor compared with IC engine. So here the main thing in parallel hybrid is that the mechanical coupler can connect the wheels either to the IC engine or electric motor. In both the cases, in some cases it may happen that even one electric motor is not in a position to supply the power requirement, or even IC engine is also not able to supply the power requirement. In that case, both of them can be coupled through the mechanical coupler and can be coupled to the wheels. Now here, under this condition, this power converter and battery, they will act as peak power source, whatever I have shown here. So under peak power requirement conditions, this battery and power converter can be used and the electric motor can be run, and you can have the additional amount of mechanical power requirement available from this particular part. So this is about series hybrid and parallel hybrid, which we have covered in the first unit. So in the first unit, I have given you the introduction about the series and parallel hybrid, and this is the series hybrid. You can see this block diagram and write about this block diagram. Even in parallel hybrid, you can have this particular combination. You can write about the parallel hybrid configuration. Now, first of all, in this unit, we will see about series hybrid drivetrains. So in this case, how exactly you can design the components and what are the various say aspects of this block diagram, how exactly the control can be achieved, and then we are going to switch over to parallel hybrid, how exactly in this particular condition the control as well as monitoring can be done in this particular case. So here, series hybrid combination, electric motor is coupled to mechanical transmission and wheels. In parallel hybrid, electric motor and IC engine both are coupled to mechanical transmission and wheels through mechanical coupler. The mechanical coupler is an additional component required in the parallel hybrid. The mechanical coupler can connect the wheels to either electric motor or a IC engine depending upon the power or torque requirement of the wheels. So this I have already told you. Now this is a typical configuration of a series hybrid electric drivetrain. Now here also we can see double lines, they indicate the mechanical connection. Single thick line indicates electrical power, and single single line, thin line indicates the signals. Signals means electric signals. So here you can see here these are the wheels, front wheels of the vehicle, and this is a coupling gear with the front wheels. This is the gear transmission. This is the gear transmission, and it is coupled with the motor. Output of the motor mechanically is connected to the transmission block, and here the motor controller is nothing but your control mechanism for this motor. So in all, you can just see this vehicle controller is the main brain of the vehicle, wherein it will control everything from this vehicle controller. And you can see this vehicle controller takes the feedback from this drivetrain, transmission and the front wheels. Here you can see this is the feedback, vehicle speed. It will collect the feedback from the vehicle speed and give it to the vehicle controller. Then operation commands. So what are the operation commands? Operation commands, these are given by the driver or the operator of the vehicle. So operation commands, they include increase in acceleration, increase in the torque, or you can say it can also include reduction in the speed due to braking, and it also can involve sudden rise in the torque if there is a uphill movement of the vehicle. So all these, they can be treated as operation commands. Operation commands, these include acceleration, deceleration, then sudden increase in speed, sudden decrease in speed, braking, etc. So these are all known as operation commands. So these are given here to the vehicle controller. Then the vehicle controller also gets input from the engine controller. So this is engine speed, throttle position. So we have seen what is meant by throttle position of the engine. So depending upon the throttle position, as we have seen, the speed of the engine will be decided. So if the throttle valve open position is more, then the machine will run at higher speeds. If the throttle valve is opened with a lower angle, then it will run at lower speed. So this throttle angle is available from this part as an input to the vehicle controller. So here you can see one more input is given. This is nothing but peak power source, state of charge. Now SOC, this is related to state of charge. So this is nothing but condition of the battery, condition of the battery. So when SOC is full, this means that battery is fully charged. If SOC is low, battery is discharged. So state of charge of any battery is decided by the voltage level of the battery, whether the voltage is full. In that case, the battery is said to be full of state of charge, and when the SOC is very low, in that case we can say that the battery has been discharged to a very low level, and we say that the state of charge is low. So here this state of charge is indicated to the vehicle controller. So this is peaking power source. So peaking power source means when you are applying the sudden amount of input power to the wheels as per the requirement. Suppose if there is a smooth step ahead of the vehicle, you need to suddenly accelerate the vehicle, increase the torque, so that you can pass through the step, and as a result, under that condition you require the peaking power source. So in addition to the actual motor controller which is taking power from the generator, so in addition to generator we require this peaking power source when we have to have a high torque or high power requirement for a small time duration. So for that purpose it requires the peaking power source state of charge for the vehicle controller. So the vehicle controller must see that at all times the peaking power source is at full of state of charge. So that is nothing but SOC is full. So this kind of control is always required. That is why the vehicle controller must have an input signal related to the state of charge for the peaking power source. So here the peaking power source could be typically a battery which can supply the power to the motor. So here you can see there are three inputs. One here which is the vehicle speed, second one is the throttle position, third one is the SOC of PPS, and fourth one is operation commands from the driver. The outputs which are available from the vehicle controller, these are the mechanical brake controller. So when you are applying the mechanical brakes, suppose suddenly I want to stop the vehicle, you cannot have the generating action and again feeding back the power to the peaking power source and so on. That will take more time. So as a result, if you require sudden braking, you have to apply sudden mechanical brake. So this mechanical brake controller is here. So this is actually done by the operator by controlling the pedal of the brake. If you press the brake pedal, the vehicle will brake and it may stop. So this is one mechanical brake controller given to the wheels. So this is given to front wheel left side and front wheel right side. So if there are two more wheels as backside, these two also will be connected with the mechanical brake controller, wherein you have the brakes for the rear wheels also. So this is one thing. Then the output from here, vehicle controller is given to engine controller. So engine controller is nothing but the IC engine controller. This is the IC engine. So here whatever blocks you see at the top, these are the corrugations, or these are nothing but the heat sink arrangements for the engine. So this can provide air cooling of the engine and the temperature can be controlled. So this engine controller gives the input to the engine. So now engine controller, what it will have? It will have the throttle position. Similarly, it can have the accelerator pedal control and the other controls to give it to the engine. Then engine is running the generator. This is a generator which can be an AC generator or a DC generator. In both the cases, whether it is AC generator or DC generator, you have the motor controller. Motor controller now, this is nothing but a power electronic converter, wherein the AC power may be converted into DC, if it is a DC motor. If you have a DC motor, again you have a chopper control here to get the variable speed from the fixed voltage of the battery or generator. If you apply the fixed voltage to the motor will rotate at constant speed, but we will not have the speed variation under these conditions. So what we do is, we apply the voltage to the motor through the motor controller so that the motor can run at variable speed. So the output of the generator is fixed one, voltage of the generator is fixed, but this can change the voltage and apply it to the motor. So that if you want to reduce the speed, you reduce the voltage applied to the motor. If you want to increase the speed, you increase the voltage applied to the motor. So this is what is done by the motor controller. So the vehicle controller also gives one output to the motor controller, so which is controlling the motor. So this will enable the motor controller to work. Now in what configurations it should work, in what way it should work, all these will be given by the vehicle controller. So the commands will be given by the vehicle controller. And then this motor will be controlled. This is the gear transmission or drive transmission, and then it is given to the front wheels. So this is the block diagram of the series hybrid train design. And in this case, if suppose in the examination if you get a question on series hybrid train block diagram, this block diagram you may have to draw, explain all the different blocks and the necessity of all these blocks. So this will give you the idea of how exactly the series hybrid train drive can be viewed or can be imagined. So the same thing has been described here. Now here you can see the traction motor is powered by a battery pack and or an engine generator unit. The engine generator unit either helps the batteries to power the traction motor when load power demand is large, or charges the batteries when load power demand is small. The motor controller is to control the traction motor to produce the power required by the vehicle. So now here one more thing what we can see, vehicle performance and maximum speed. Vehicle performance such as acceleration, gradability and maximum speed is completely determined by the size and characteristics of the traction motor drive. The determination of the size of the motor drive and gears of transmission is the same as in the electric vehicle design. However, the drivetrain control is essentially different from the pure electric train drive because of the involvement of an additional engine generator unit. This chapter focuses on the design of engine alternator system, operation control strategy and battery size design. Also the term peak power source will replace battery pack because in hybrid electric vehicles the major function of batteries is to supply peaking power. They can be replaced with other kinds of sources such as ultra capacitors and flywheels. So this is what I have already told you. And here this peaking power source will replace battery pack now. So here in the block diagram, whatever peaking power source you have, this peaking power source can be a battery, it can be a flywheel, or it can be an ultra capacitor. So this ultra capacitor and all these fundamentals is there in unit 4. Okay. So accordingly you can design this drivetrain and carry out the things. So here this particular topic discusses the design of all the different blocks, how it can be done. for a given application. Okay, anyway, we are not going to design any system as such, and I am only giving you the insight of what are the major blocks available in the series hybrid drivetrain. So I think we shall stop here today.